Alrighty, Shalom, Shalom, Israel. I'm gonna start by giving all glory and praises to YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHWASHI, BAHASHAM, QADASH, and the brother I'm one for downtown Florida for the camp prophets of Babylon. Come on, the quick hit to the spirit, Prophet YAHWASHI. Lord wanted to edify and feed the sheep. Double honors to those an apostle, great millstone, teach you well. Peace and blessings to the brothers who pushing this work in true sincerity. To this guy, the broad. Now I got a quick little video that I'm about to play. All right, going into this recent update on the SNAP benefits. All right, and I'm gonna play it all the way back, but I wanted to get this particular part, or going into what this woman was saying. All right, Eve herself. All right, speaking on what was taking place with these snaps, and what she had a few words to say about it. All right, but I'm gonna go ahead and play it. Lord, when this lesson is edifying to Akim, all right, who are listening to the sincerity.
I feel like these people sit around and try to think about how they can make poor people mad, or how they can make poor people's lives worse. Because nothing that these people have ever come up with or put in place make any kind of sense. Now, according to the article that I read, they found 186,000 people who were receiving food stamps that were deceased. Now, this can only happen if the people were elderly, or if they died from some sort of tragic accident and the family doesn't come in and report that they're dead. So instead of fixing the broken system, you make people reapply. And how is that fixing fraud? And then they want to talk about saving taxpayers' dollars. You want to save taxpayers' dollars? Then figure out how are people able to steal people's food stamps online before they even had a chance to spend it. And then the system now has to come and reimburse people food stamps that somebody else stole. Because this makes no sense. People already have to reapply every 6 months and every year in order to continue getting their benefits. So the only people who kind of get a little leeway is the elderly, because they're older. They may not can come in as much as the other people can. So I could understand and see where that 186,000 fraud stuff come in. Then another thing, if they're going to implement this, then they need to pay them case managers more money. Because a lot of them are making just above minimum wage, and they're not getting paid enough to deal with all the drama that doing this is going to come with. Pay them people more money, because this right here is bullshit.
Alrighty. Going into that, all right, we know that, recently you had this government shutdown, reopen. Okay, and everybody who was excited about this government reopening, all right, they was all rejoicing, and they was all happy, all right, because the stamps were also reopening, okay, which people were going to get their benefits back, all right, people were going to receive these things, that was waiting for months, man, or weeks, all right, because during that government shutdown, you had it with multiple people, okay, were complaining about them not receiving their benefits and their SNAP funds, okay, which were causing a lot of problems within the people's homes. All right, kids was going without food, people were going without eating. All right, and then you had it where a lot of people who depending on these things, all right, was pretty much suffering from it bad. Okay, but now that it came back into play, you have it where now you are required to reapply. You see, and this is all coming from those who you have trusted in. Okay, Esau Edom, the so-called white man. All right, and this has been talked about numerous of times, man. But the number one consumer, all right, of going to these devils, man, all right, will even just be our people in itself, right? Well, you really have it where these other nations, starting with Esau himself, who really are, hooked on these stamps and benefits the most, all right, but really, just speaking about our people itself, all right, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American, you have a majority of our people who run down to these devils for these benefits and assistance, than rather relying on their power, man. Okay, trusting in YAHAWASHI, or even seeking those things of counsel to do what's right, man. And these cases and scenarios that come upon them, man. All right, in distress. Okay, so here you have it, man. Eve, stressing and she talking about all this is going on, why she ain't able to still receive it, or why this is going on, and they're not making any differences, okay, or changes, okay. But the scriptures goes into that, all right, which I'm gonna grab right quick. Um, this is a good one, which I'm a matter of fact come back to that. But the one I wanted to get is and then we gonna make this too long, straight to the spirit, straight to the point. One of this is edifying through the spirit. But this is Micah 2:1. Okay, it says, "Woe, meaning destruction, to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds." All right, going into these elites, man. All right, these high bacon families. All right, the Rothschilds, Rockefellers, those main known major families, right? You got those who sit amongst this table, all right, and they come up with these schemes and plans and plots, all right, and traps and snares, all right, amongst the masses of the people, and really pertaining to you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American, man. Okay, because you're the first target on their list. So they come up with these things on how to create these snares in a way, okay? It says, "And work evil upon their beds." It says, "When the morning is light, they practice it." So when the things get started in the day, all right, things start getting put to motion. Guess what? They are already they're already putting things into play. Okay, things are moving according to their plans. You see, and this is why you see things happen rapidly. All right, when I'm gonna play the video back, going into it, but they showed you, all right, how fast this happened right when this reopening was happening. With government, coming back into opening up those doors with these benefits, man. It showed you how fast they slid this in there in the fine print, man. All right, in the fine print they have it with these things. All right, so to speak. Now you got to reapply. Now you got to have these certain requirements. All right, when you didn't have to worry about that before, because the wicked is ruling right now, man. Esau, the so-called white man. It says, "When the morning is light, they practice it, because it is in the power of their hand." All right, and this is the power that they demonstrate that they have to be able to take these things away from you or make it harder on you. You see, and this is why the scriptures tell you to never trust thy enemy. Matter of fact, let's grab that. This is Ecclesiastes, known as Sirach chapter 12, verse 10. It says, "Never trust thy enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so with his wickedness." So eventually this devil will show their wickedness, all right, in the end. All right, that's why the scripture says, "Never trust thy enemy." And these devils, all right, Esau, Edom, so-called white man, is your enemy. All right, he's the one that's setting up these hard conditions. Okay, these draconian laws. Okay, things that's putting you in predicaments where it's a lot more on you than the average American. All right, because they know what their they know what their true targets or true intentions is, so to speak, man. Pursuing to Psalms 83. All right, they want to cut you off from being a nation. Okay, they come together to have one consent to attack a certain particular group of people, man. All right, so this is a thing you should be aware of. You should take heed to. Okay, because the scripture says, reading again, Ecclesiastes is known as Sirach chapter 12, verse 10. It says, "Never trust thy enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so with his wickedness." Okay, verse 11. "Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and be," it says, "and beware of him." So beware of this devil, man. Yeah, he might come with smiles and open arms, all right, but as the scripture says, he speaks smoothly, with those words, but war was in his heart. So he's always looking at a way to attack. He's strategizing, on plans, okay, how to attack. All right, it says as he go crouching. All right, and as we know, the scripture goes into as a roaring lion, he looketh about who he may devour. Okay, and this devil is always, somewhere slithering in the grass. He's somewhere crouching, somewhere always trying to look for an opening. All right, and if he find one, he's not going to be satisfied with blood, as the scripture says. He's going to always thirst for more. He's a covetous devil. All right, he's greedy. All right, he will never get enough. And this is why the scripture says one of the reasons why the scripture says that he is the border of wickedness, man, who the Lord has an indignation towards, meaning righteous anger. All right, these devils are on a ticking time bomb, but those who also have trust in them are in some hot water too. And that comes back to you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American who have trusted in Esau, man, which we'll grab that as well. All right, but it says, yet take good heed and beware of him, and thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust have not been altogether wiped away. Right. And what is verse 14 it say? Going over it, it says, jumping down to verse 7, Ecclesiastes, notice the Rock, chapter 14, verse 7. And if he doeth good, you see, he doeth it unwillingly, and at the last he will declare his wickedness. So, and at the end of this, he will declare his wickedness. Yeah, he might seem like he giving you back your stamps and giving you back your benefits and giving you back all these things, but it's all to benefit him. It's all to give him his desire in the end, man. All right, and this devil has an out for, all right, Jake. So what he's working on is something that once again, he's not to be trusted on. You see, he doeth it unwillingly. This is something that he got he's forcing that. When you see an Edomite, all right, they always if they don't like you or whatever, they always show you a certain sign. You might have a Tom at your job and he always forcing a smile or calling you brother. Hey man, what's up, brother? You gotta watch for that shit, man. All right, you gotta watch for these things that they do with having these, behind closed doors, wicked intentions to harm. Okay, to attack. You gotta watch for these things, man. All right, because Esau will, if he get a chance to, he will attack. With them fangs, he'll bite. All right, as a serpent he is. So bringing that back, Ecclesiastes chapter 14, verse 7, it says, and if he doeth good, he doeth it unwillingly, and at the last he will declare his wickedness. Okay, so he will declare his wickedness, man. All right, and we know that he is a clever and cunning devil. All right, and we know that if he gets that, once again, the opportunity, he will seek to the point of no return. Let me see, Ecclesiastes 12 and verse 10 or verse 16. It says, an enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips, but in his heart he imagineth how to throw thee into a pit. There you have it. This is what he's constantly working on. All right, he's constantly working on how to lower you into a trap to where you can't get out. It says he will weep with his eyes. Oh, poor me, poor you. But if he find opportunity, he will not be satisfied with blood. Okay, he will not be satisfied with blood. Once again, if he finds this opportunity, he will not be satisfied with blood. He will seep those fangs in you and he will bite. You see? And that's what he's doing with the ways of him introducing that SNAP benefits back okay, to you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, what is it? Up to 42 million people had those snap cuts, okay, and I'm pretty sure it was a great amount of Jake who was in that 42 million, man. All right, that has to now reapply, and it doesn't stop there, okay. It's gonna continue, but those are the things that this devil is worked on for the meantime, okay, which we're gonna grab that now. Going into it's a scripture I wanted to grab, man. Lord, when come back to me, but this is let me see, Isaiah 10. It says, "Woe be the destruction unto them that that decree unrighteous decrees." Right, those unrighteous decrees, those laws, right, and that right grievousness which they have prescribed, right. So these devils, all right, have written these things down. They're in control once again. Going back into that power, okay. This is them having that power to write these unrighteous decrees, man. You see, the reason this government shutdown happens is because they couldn't come into an agreement on what they was, to prescribe to be written down on what agreement it was gonna give for those funds, man. You see, but ultimately for it to work, they had to come to some type of agreement. All right, for the meantime, and it led to what? Concerns, man. Ultimately, it led to concerns. It led to cuts. You see, so it doesn't stop there with this guy. Okay, it doesn't stop there. Now going to Isaiah, that's the word. Called by Shemuel Shah. That's what it was. Isaiah 30. All right, to back up the scripture, we're never trusting our enemy, because if you trusting in this devil, all right, this is what's going to happen. This is what takes place. It says Isaiah 30:1. Woe to the rebellious children, saith the Lord YAHAWASHI, that take counsel, but not of me, that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin. That's right. Now people rather seek elsewhere than to seek YAHAWASHI through that counsel. Okay, they'd rather not want to make these necessary changes or adjustments. They want to continue doing what they were doing. They want to continue go about things how they've been doing it. All right, and here in America, that's all they promote. Do as thy will. Do as you're in control of these things. But scripture says otherwise. It says, verse 2, that walk to go down into Egypt, and have not asked at my mouth, to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh. And that's what you see our people doing. This is why you see Eve crying out. She talking about this and that, blah, blah, blah. Because what? She's going down to her oppressors for help. And their oppressors are doing exactly what their job is, to oppress you. Nigga. Okay? You got the so-called nigger woman, Eve, all right, who always showing her ass, finding herself in a lower position at this point, running to Esau, man, who she supposedly have been this who she call on, this who she run to, Daddy Esau. That's what the scripture says. They as the devil, they as their father the devil. Okay, roughly paraphrasing, but going into it, the brothers, the scripture going into it. But this is a prime example, and this is not just only Eve, but you got these little nigglets too, man. Who Eve done spit out, these little gremlins, man. Who done raised up either being a simp or a nigga that don't got no type of cojones, as Issachar say, doing the same thing. So this place is through, man. And so is those who trust in it. And that's including our people too. It says, verse 2, reading again, that walk to go down unto Egypt, and have not asked at my mouth, to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh. Your modern day president is who? Trump. You got all these Trump supporters who done closed up shop and packed the bags and, railed the flags down and then hid somewhere in the goddamn dungeon. Because the way this devil's going, man, it's going left. And we give all glory and praise to YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, man, because this devil's doing exactly what he's going to do. He was supposed to do. He's doing what he's got to do. And he's shutting it down, man. Okay? So keep it up. It says, and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. Verse 3, therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion. That's what's going to turn, that's going to be the outcome of trusting in this system and Esau and Trump and all this, Yeah, it's going to be your shame and your confusion at the end of the day, man. This is why you see that in the video. Now, I'm going to bring the video back. Okay, and I want to play the whole thing, but the point was in the beginning. All right, or at that, slightly not the beginning, but in that clip. All right, but there's more to it because it ain't just her. Just give me 1 second. And this is actually, if I didn't mention, this is from a brother on the let me see, Slacky, I'm trying to remember. I believe it's like Arrows, GMS Arrows something. Well, when I'm putting it in the description below. But this is a beautiful video that he posted up on his channel, man. Okay, let me play it though. It's Slacky about that as well. Let's see if I can speed it up.
I'm too excited. Who's your top story? This one feels like deja vu with a side of stress. SNAP is finally back after the government shutdown, but the second the lights came on, Congress slid in a whole new round of cuts under that one big, beautiful bill. And yes, that name is ridiculous, but let's stay focused. States are rushing to issue the missed payments, like Alabama, which said folks should have seen their benefits hit on November 14th. But here's the other shoe dropping. USDA sent out guidance that pushes a whole lot of people off SNAP immediately. Work requirements just got way tougher. Able-bodied adults under 65, no dependents, you're now having to prove you're working at least 80 hours a month in school or in training. If you can't prove it, you get 3 months of benefits. That's it. Parents with kids under 14 are exempt, but once those kids hit 14, those parents are probably pulled into the work requirement pool too. And then here's the part that's blowing people right now. Groups that were always exempt no longer are. Veterans, people experiencing homelessness, young adults aging out of foster care. They now have to meet the same work rules. The only full exemption still standing is disability. Then we get to the immigration changes. This is where things get cruel real quick. Only citizens, nationals, Cuban and Haitian entrants, and COFA citizens are eligible. Green card holders facing a 5-year waiting period unless they're under 18 or have a military connection. Refugees, asylees, and trafficking survivors are losing benefits entirely. These are some of the most vulnerable groups we see accessing basic nutrition support and healthcare. So cutting them off isn't policy, it's harm. All of this took effect on November 1st. So people are already being dropped. And then from a nursing lens, food insecurity is directly tied to chronic disease progression, medication adherence, ED utilization, and mortality. Congress knows that. They passed it anyway. So that's the update. Brace yourself.
According to the reporting, the 42 million Americans that Donald Trump cut off of food stamps will now have to reapply in order to get food stamps. Apparently, they're going to have to restart the eligibility process all over again from scratch because they're trying to, quote-unquote, overhaul the program. Mind you, to qualify, households must be at or below 130% of the poverty line. By the way, it's fucking insane when the literal definition for poverty is the state of lacking the financial resources and essentials for a basic standard of living. Literally for the fucking government, you can't even be lacking basic necessities. You have to be 130% lacking necessities in order to get the fucking resources. Which in 2025 was $15,000 for a single person, $26,000 for a 3-person household, and $37,000 for a 5-person household. It will require those 42 million Americans to complete an online application, submit pertinent documents, proof of identity, citizenship, proof of residence, proof of income, household expenses, medical expenses. And then those same applicants are going to have to complete an eligibility interview, wait for a state verification, then wait for a decision from the state, which typically takes about 30 days. They're not even going to get the same amount of benefits that they were getting before because benefits have been cut. So if you remember, Trump's big bullshit bill, which passed in July, cut an estimated $186 billion from SNAP funding through 2034. But don't worry, the money that's not going to feed families and children, they told us is going to a better place. Tax cuts for the ultra wealthy.
Hey, man, there you have it, okay? This is how you know this place is crumbling and coming to its end, all right? We know America's on its way out from the way of how the people are, okay? And we've been going into this, me and the Hakim been going into this for the last few days now, man, okay? Going into this same precept, which I'm going to close it out with this, okay? Let me grab it. How I go up. Oh, yeah. Let's see. Come on for me. Let me see. So I can bear with me. All right. This is Proverbs chapter 29, verse 2. And it reads, it says, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. All right. So that's what you're seeing right now, man. The people are mourning and the people are going to continue to mourn. Okay. Until, hey, this place is utterly destroyed, man. So with that, Lord, when this lesson was edifying to Akim Aquata, seeking Lord the truth and sincerity. Once again, double honor to that was an apostle, great millstone, teaching well. I'm going to close it out by giving all glory and praises to YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHWASHI, BAHASHAM, QADASH. Until next time I say, Shalom.